32 after the hour, which seems appropriate. That was Bill Walton's number, 32, at least when he was playing at UCLA, I believe. And when you were a kid, how aware were you of UCLA with Bill Walton?
I think everyone was aware of UCLA. I mean, growing up in Riverside, Bruins were everything for us on KTLA Channel 5. That's all we used to watch was the Bruins. So for me to be fortunate to have an opportunity to play for UCLA and have those legends come back and give us clinics, speeches, life lessons. Bill was always the first one in the gym. And at that time, he was playing for the Celtics by the time I got to UCLA. So there was bitter rivalries between the Lakers and the Celtics, and he was a part of that. And to have him come back and work with Surfing Jack Haley and Stuart Gray and Kenny Fields, and just to have because we wanted to know, like, what was it really like in those locker rooms and on the court when Magic and Bird, and it was cool to hear those stories. And our friendship kind of grew even more so once Larry Bird became our coach in Indiana, because he was around all the time then, because he was also working with NBC during those mid-90s as well. So we've had a great relationship. It's a sad day in Bruin Nation, but we know he's in a better place. We know we have guardian angels, and he lived life to the fullest. I mean, that's kind of all what you want. You want a full life where people loved you. You did what you love to do. He was success at every level he played at.
And he was not, it's weird to be intense on the floor, but off the floor, he was not.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, act like Troy Polamalu. He would come on the show and he'd have this very soft voice, and he'd go out there and he'd take somebody's head off. And you'd be like, and Bill would be out there and be really intense, and then he'd be off the floor and he'd be, Bob Dylan, and he'd be singing songs. And I don't know. I mean, some guys can turn it off when they get off the floor. But was Jordan like that? I mean, Jordan was intense off, right?
Jordan had that aura, still does. Look, with Bill, he knew what basketball meant to him, and what, you talk about Bob Dylan and, how about the Grateful Dead and Jerry Garcia, who, he was a deadhead and followed them around. He was a groupie. And he knew that, yes, basketball was just a small part of my life. There's so many other things. It's funny because recently, over the last 10 years, he and I really bonded over two wheels. He was a huge cyclist enthusiast, as well as I am. And a lot of our times was spent on bikes, mileage, training plans. So there were so many layers to Bill: basketball, musician, cyclist, activist. People forget, he got in a lot of hot water back at UCLA, words about the Vietnam War and, sticking up for the vets and things like that. So there was lots of layers to him, and he was very unique, and it came across as an unbelievable broadcaster as well. So yes, he will be missed, but he will definitely never be forgotten.